Hello, welcome everybody to the East to West Weight Loss Surgery Podcast. I am April and I'm the West.
And I'm Jason and I'm the East.
We are so excited to be with you today. Our goal is to support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. Jason and I both underwent a type of bariatric surgery called vertical sleeve gastrectomy, or VSG for short. He and I have both lost over 100 pounds. I am down today 119 pounds. Jason, how many pounds are you down?
154 pounds as of this morning. New personal low, baby. Woo!
Woo! We are rocking and rolling. The reason Jason and I created East to West Weight Loss Surgery is because we were really disappointed with the care that we got after our bariatric procedures. Jason and I both had phenomenal medical care. Our surgeons were wonderful. The nurses were wonderful. The facilities were great. But really, surgery works on your physical self. It doesn't help with the emotional, with the brain side of weight loss surgery. So Jason and I teamed up because we were just not happy with the support that we got after weight loss surgery. So we are here to support you as you continue on your own bariatric journey. If podcasts are not your favorite way to learn or grow, we want to let you know that you can check us out on YouTube. So we actually record our podcast in Zoom, and then we upload this awesome video to our YouTube channel. So if you would like to watch us, I encourage you to visit us there. Just go to YouTube and type in East, the number 2, West _ WLS, and our wonderful page will pop up. And then you can watch us that way. So you can like, subscribe, and share to our podcast videos there on YouTube. And then, of course, you can like and subscribe and share our podcast on your favorite player as well. So we are just here to grow and support this community.
Definitely.
Yep. Okay, my friend. So today's topic, we're diving in to us versus food, right? Why we get so emotional about food and how we can regain control after weight loss surgery. This is one of the most common conversations that you and I have. We get questions all the time about this. We see it all the time asked on like all of the weight loss surgery forums. And I think so many people are caught off guard by their emotional connection to food after surgery because they just didn't think it was an issue, right? So they went into surgery, knowing that they had some medical stuff going on or knowing that there were some things going on in the background. But you just don't want to admit that you don't have a great relationship with food going into it. It's not something that you want to like just publicly broadcast, even though we know that people know we have a problem with food. We are obese. We are super morbidly obese. We're carrying hundreds of extra pounds on our frame. Unlike some other addictions, you can't hide your weight. It is what it is. But it's scary to admit, and people, I think, just don't want to go there. So then they have bariatric surgery and they think that the emotional side of thing isn't going to be an issue, or that, oh no, I don't have a bad relationship with food, or I don't have a problem with food. Well, then you have your procedure, and you start feeling better, and then you go, oh my God, why am I still freaking out over Cheetos? Or why am I having a really hard time because I can't have, right? You fill in the blank. So I'm really excited to jump into this topic today because it's very meaningful to people in the bariatric community.
No, yeah, you're 100% right. There's a lot of people that I'm noticing as well that not only do they not want to admit that they've got the issue with food, they also may think that surgery is just going to fix it. Because there's some people that were like, oh, I love to eat this before surgery, and after surgery, I just can't eat it at all, or I don't eat it, or it's just not an option for me. And so a lot of people go in banking like, oh, well, that's going to happen for me then. And I won't be able to eat pizza anymore. And I won't be able to eat this stuff and all the fatty stuff that I did before. But, here's a spoiler alert. Guess what? That doesn't happen for a lot of people. So a lot of people get done with the surgery and they jump out into the world and they realize, oh, nothing has changed, and I can eat every damn thing I wanted to eat. And yeah, it may be a little discomforting at first, but you'll push through it and you'll still be able to eat it. And then every time you eat it after that, it gets a little bit less uncomfortable until you're back eating it again. And that's where you go from a slide to a slip and slide to you're right back to where you were before. And before you know it, instead of losing weight, seeing the scale and the inches go in your favor, you see it going the other way. And once you get that far gone, it's extremely hard to get it back.
Yes, you said so many important things in that sentence. You and I know that we have a 50% chance of regaining all or most of our weight 2 years after surgery. And the reason that people regain is because for the reasons that you said, you think that you're not going to be able to eat the foods that you overindulged on, before surgery, after surgery. Most people can. And surgery doesn't do anything for your brain, for your emotions, for your cravings, for that relationship. That's where the work of weight loss surgery really comes in. Surgery is the easy part. It's learning to really live a different life and to have a different relationship with food after surgery. And that is it's why we're here. It's why we exist, because we want people to find success after weight loss surgery. And we know it's a struggle. Jason and I are living through it right now. And you have to eat to live. So not eating is not an option. Really, the only pathway forward is to develop a healthy relationship with food and to put food on the back burner in terms of your joy or your comfort, right? It can't be those things for you anymore. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, and one of the things that a lot of people don't focus on is food addiction is one of the only addictions that you still have to confront, because you have to have food to survive. So functioning alcoholics have to drink to get through the day, but once you're in recovery, you learn coping skills to get through the day without those drinks, so you move past being able to do that. Recovering food addicts have, it would be the same thing as you telling a functioning alcoholic or a recovering cocaine addict, well, you just have a little bit of a bump now instead of like 2 or 3 lines of cocaine to get you through the day. Then you're good. Like just a couple of bumps at lunch, a couple of bumps at dinner, and you're good. That's all you got to do. But for recovering food addicts, we still have to be able to eat to get, that's how we survive. So it's very, very hard. When people say that surgery is the easy way out, it's hilarious to me, because they don't think about, they just think you go and get your stomach cut out, you can't eat anymore, and you're good, you lose a bunch of weight. Yeah. Well, if that was the case, that would be fantastic. However, it's not, because every time we sit down, we are confronted with the fact that you have to order within such and such a, your food, your meals have to be catered to the healthier decisions in order for you to make it through to the other side.
Yeah.
And there's so much temptation. There's so many things, with the holidays coming up, or your friends want you to go out to eat. Different things like that are going to happen. And it's up to you. You're the only person that's not only responsible for, but can be held accountable for the decisions that you make. And if you really want this to work, you're going to have to do that much, much farther after surgery than just going in and getting your stomach cut out. That's just when the hard stuff starts.
Yeah. Yep. That's why we're here. All right, friend, you ready to do it? Ready to jump in?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so I've got some tough questions to ask you right off the bat, and I just want you to tell me what's the very first thing that comes into your mind when you think about food before weight loss surgery. How do you feel?
I feel elated. I used to get super excited about eating because everything about it was exciting.
What did food used to give you besides nutrition?
Just the utmost joy. And just being able to eat, and whatever it was I was eating, you can best believe I ordered the biggest one they had. If it wasn't a double, I would pay extra to make it a double. If it wasn't the size, I would make it whatever size I needed to make it. I would order extra on top of whatever that is to make sure that, because every time I ordered anything, my biggest fear in the back of my mind was, you won't be full off of that. You're going to pay money to eat somewhere and you'll still be hungry.
That is so, I used to think the exact same thing. So when I wrote this question out, I said, okay, well, when I think about food before weight loss surgery, I feel a lot of anxiety, right? I feel a lot of stress. I feel a lot of anxiety. And at the same time, I would also be anticipating like relief, almost like sweet relief, right? It was like, okay, I'm going to be stressed because I'm so hungry right now. And I know that I'm not going to be full, but at least I can like eat something and I can tune out. I can just zone out. Because when I really think about how I treated food before surgery versus how I treat food now, it really, that I had really unhealthy eating patterns, right? I was eating the same thing pretty consistently, and I was eating it in quantities that were not healthy. And I was eating, and it was just not nutritious food. I mean, yes, it had some nutritious elements to it, but it just wasn't. And I would look forward to those meals because it would literally give me time to zone out. I was so stressed, or something was not going well, or I was not happy, and I could, I could turn to food to make those emotions go away. So for me, it was definitely a combination of anxiety and stress and joy, which sounds so weird. But that's the power of food, right? So why are we so emotional when it comes to food? And for a lot of us, it's how we have dealt with life's up and downs, right? So not only is food a tool that we can use to de-stress or to check out or to numb ourselves, but food is also associated with the most glorious moments of life, right? It's associated with celebrations, with weddings, with graduations, with birthdays, with holidays. It evokes personal memories of members of our family. I mean, food is such an integral part of the human experience. And sometimes it gets so intertwined with it that we can't separate it, and we really get ourselves in trouble. I mean, I know in my family, I've got my mom, my grandma, my sister, they're all amazing cooks. They are wizards in the kitchen. And those women show their love through food. Right. So when all of a sudden you start thinking about like, oh my gosh, well, food's not going to be an important part of my life. It's almost like you're saying my connection with my history and my family and my friends is being severed, because this is how we show love. This is how we give love is through food. I mean, it's just, it's such an integral part of our society. And I think it's one of the reasons that people just don't want to acknowledge that they have these unhealthy relationships with food, because it means you're giving away these connections.
Well, and that's, you got to think about growing up when, some of your favorite cousins, uncles, aunts, family members you only saw at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, and those were the huge meals for the family, whether it be Easter or whatever it is that you celebrate. Those celebrations come with with just an abundance of food, and you
Yeah.
just eat until you're full, and you nap, and then you eat some more, and then you go play, and then that's just you make the day of it.
Yep.
And you go all the way from celebrations all the way across, from the happiest to the saddest. I mean, you equate, even with funerals, there's food, there's you go back and everybody's got food, or they bring food, or
Yep.
there's just food everywhere, and once everything's done, you go back and eat and be around family.
Yeah.
So from the top to the bottom, I mean, from the beginning to the end, so to speak, there's it's equated with food.
Yeah. Well, and I can also think of times too, in my own life where, I've gone somewhere, or my family, my parents have hosted a social gathering, and there's so much food, and the abundance of food is almost like it's not a sign of wealth, but it kind of, in a way it is. I mean, if you can invite people into your home and you can provide them with this amazing spread of food, that says a lot about, kind of who you are as a person, or what you happen, what you can provide. I mean, I know my parents, they love to host parties, and they're always serving turduckens, or they're serving crab. They're serving these things that you just wouldn't get ordinarily in your everyday life. So, sometimes for us, having this abundance of food is also a sign of wealth or prosperity. It's how we give back. It's how we say our thanks.
Right.
And you know it's a really fine line between what's too much and what's not, what's unhealthy and what is healthy. I don't think you and I would ever advocate for, food can never be a part of your life, or food, can't be a part of your celebration.
Yeah,
It's just a part of the human experience. But we can change our relationship with food so that it's not the primary source of our joy or happiness, or of our thankfulness. And the other thing that really makes food just a bitch of a problem is that it's always available, right?
oh
So
yeah,
you turn on the TV, you're seeing ads for it. You get in the car and go anywhere, you're passing, Starbucks and McDonald's. Food is everywhere. It is in every facet of our lives. And when things go wrong and we're looking for comfort, food is almost always within arm's reach,
yeah.
right? So it's the thing that's always there. And it just makes it so difficult to break out of that, because if you really need something, you know, right away, you're needing some comfort, you can reach for food and you eat something and then you feel guilty or you feel bad about it. And that just starts your shame cycle, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, well, now I've blown my goals, or I've blown my diet, or I've blown out of my macros. And a lot of us just go, well, forget it. I've screwed up the whole day. Well, then the whole day turns into, a whole week turns into a whole month. And before you know it, you're just right back in your old habits. And it feels comforting because you're upset at yourself, and you just continue this cycle until you're right back to where you started, or, or even at a higher weight than when
Right.
you started.
Well, because that's a lot of what happens is you don't just gain back what you had before, because we all know that from diets that we've tried in the past.
Yeah.
You don't only gain back what you lost on the diet that you were trying, you get a little extra. Some of their friends come along with it. And so then you got even more you got to try to get off. And what you're talking about is basically, it's almost like if you were a recovering gambling addict and the only apartment available to you was on the Strip in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Across from the MGM Grand, and there you are. You're across from the Bellagio. Every day you got to get out of your apartment and try to go somewhere, and you're just passing all the casinos, but you're a recovering gambling addict. Like, it's just, people don't equate it to being the same thing, but it's the same thing.
It is. Yep, it is. And later on in this episode, we're gonna talk about some concrete steps that we can take to help redefine our relationship with food and get to a healthy space with it. But I would like to ask you, Jason, what was your relationship with food like before weight loss surgery, right? So you you spoke to it a little bit earlier, but what was that relationship like for you?
It was exhausting, to be honest with you. I going to get food, sneaking out to get food, being excited when the family would go do something different for dinner and I was on my own to eat, which means all the possibilities. I could go eat whatever I want and as much as I want, and nobody was going to look at me crazy, and I wasn't going to have to get a lecture from my wife about what I was eating.
Yeah.
And it just became, when I think back on it now, I'm just exhausted. I think to, movie scenes where you see the addict running around to try to score drugs, and then he finally gets them, and then that first hit of drugs, and he's just, the euphoric state. That's, I remember specifically, vividly doing those things to go get whatever food it was I thought I had to have at the time, and feeling that same way when I was done eating whatever meal it was. But literally, it was probably just my arteries clogging because of all the shit that I was putting in my body, and my heart was having a hard time getting through, But I mean, honestly, I can vividly remember having a lot of those times.
So why do you think you developed this unhealthy relationship with food? What were you trying to fill? Was there a void? Was there something missing? I mean, have you had a chance to really think about why you went down that path?
I honestly don't think, as far as like a void that I was trying to fill, I've just always been one of those bigger is better, is louder, is faster, is all of that is just what it's been. And my appetite just got bigger over the years. And if there was a double burger, I wanted it. And if there was a triple burger, I wanted that. And then, when come out to the time where you're seeing competitive eaters and do all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's awesome to be able to eat like that. Like, I didn't want to eat like that, but it was cool to see them doing it.
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh, well, if there's a burger with 6 patties, I bet I could eat it. And then, you go try to do that. And I remember being just, humiliated because I argued with my wife in a restaurant about a 1 pound burger that they served that came on a bun that looked like a damn hubcap of a car. And she's like, you can't eat that. And I was like, the hell I can't, and I will. And I was like, and I'll have fries with it too. And I ordered it, and I got about halfway through, and I was miserable because it was 1 pound cooked. It wasn't 1 pound pre-cooked weight.
Jesus.
It was a pound. And that, boy, look, that was a burger. Like 15-inch bun, 15-inch patty, and I was going to town, and I was so sick. I thought I was going to get sick in the restaurant, which I've never done, but I literally thought that was going to be the time. And she just looked at me with just disgust that I even tried it, but the biggest "I told you so" look on her face, and I just had to look at her and be like, It was just a bad day, I guess. Like I couldn't admit defeat. Like I had no business trying to eat it. I still was just trying to be like, well, you know, I could have ate it, but the
Wow.
fries or whatever it was I came up with at the time. But yeah.
So really being a big eater was a part of your identity. That was just something
Yeah.
that you took on. Well,
Yeah,
and I think
everybody knew that when we would go anywhere, whatever the most ridiculous thing on the menu was, I was
yeah.
more than likely going to try it.
Yeah. So it's almost like you took on this showman persona, right? It was like, well, if I'm just going to be this big, then I'm going to make it funny, or I'm going to make it humorous for other people, which is
100%.
not, yeah, which is not very healthy. So I mean, did you feel controlled by food before weight loss surgery?
Yeah, it was a big driving force, like what we talk about a lot, where you know the majority of your thought process is taken up about food, how to get it, what you're going to get, you
Yeah.
know, how if you're going to be full or not. And since then, I just look back on it, and just think about how ridiculous I feel now about how I was, and how exhausting it would be to still be trying to keep that up.
So do you think that before weight loss surgery, you had an unhealthy relationship with food?
Oh, 100%.
So when did you know then that you had an unhealthy relationship? When did things start to click for you?
When I would get like, I not just upset, but when I would rage, like I would literally be mad at the point where people could tell I was upset,
Hmm.
arguing, you know, with my wife or myself or whatever it may be, because either somebody challenged me about the amount of food I was trying to eat, or
Mm.
I couldn't go get what I wanted to eat, and I had a visible like anger reaction to it. I knew that that was a problem. Like that's not normal. Normal people don't say, "Oh, well, we're not going to go eat there," and they don't just get mad about it. Like, rah, you know, they may be disappointed and be like, "Oh, sounded really good. Maybe we'll try it again later on." But
Mhm.
no, I would literally rage out and be super upset if I couldn't get what I wanted when I wanted.
There's a word for that. It's called hangry.
Yeah. Oh
When
yeah.
you are hungry and angry. And I definitely, yes, I had a lot of hangrytude before weight loss surgery as well. And I think that too is also one of the telling signs for me, is that I would get so angry if I got to a hunger point. I would get so angry if, yeah, plans had been made and then like they got changed. And I can just remember, and I talk about this all the time. Only after weight loss surgery did I realize that 90% of my day, 90% of my brain's energy was dedicated to food on some level, thinking about it, preparing it, eating it, planning it. I mean, in any capacity, 90% of it went to food. And then when I think, God, why did I get so angry over food? It's because I only had 10% of my brain to worry about the other things in life. So I was always stressed about everything. And the only thing that took that stress away was food. Well, that's where the swap happened, right? I mean, it should have been 90% on my life, 10% on food, and it wasn't. Before surgery, it was 90% on food, and I had 10% of my capacity to actually deal with life. So it's no wonder that I look forward to food, because it was the only thing that that brought me any type of pleasure or joy, because I was so stressed out, right? I mean, about everything else. So
Yeah.
before weight loss surgery, how did you try to break up with food?
Just the normal diets and Herbalife and whatever else I could try at the time. Whatever fad diet was going on, I was on it. Trying to do better, trying to use the willpower, trying to, oh, if I just do this, or if I just make better choices, if I just do this and that. And you know, there's probably not a fad besides the Atkins diet. That's about the only train I didn't jump on. Every other diet or fad diet or whatever it was at the time, I've tried it. Um, Herbalife was probably the most successful I had been. I lost 88 pounds in about 7 months
Mm.
on Herbalife, and then gained back like 105 pounds after the 88-pound
Yeah.
loss.
Yep. I kind of did the same thing. I did 30-10 weight loss for life. It is a fabulous program. I learned a lot about nutrition. I kind of learned a lot about like what I actually needed to survive. But I was so unhappy at that low weight, and I realized I didn't actually know how to maintain it. I wasn't happy living my life the way that I had to live following that program. And it, yeah, I panicked. I absolutely panicked when I got to that low weight. And then, yeah, all of my weight came back and then some. And I'd lost maybe 40 pounds with Weight Watchers before. And like you, I'd done everything: Atkins, juicing, fasting, keto. Yeah, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers. I mean, anything, yeah, I think I racked up 10 million frequent flyer miles on all of the diet, trends that were out there. And yeah, no, absolutely nothing worked.
Oh yeah,
So,
fasting was the other only thing I hadn't tried, because let's be honest,
oh,
who's trying to not eat before weight
yeah.
loss surgery? Not it. Not me, not even kind of.
Good point. Good point. So now that we've both had weight loss surgery, how has that procedure helped you create a different relationship with food? So we know that the procedure is physical, but we do know that there's a brain body connection, right? And I think after surgery for me, the biggest connection that I made was that my brain and my body actually do have to talk to each other. Before surgery, my brain ran the show and it told my body what to do, and my body just got me from A to B. I never checked in with what my body actually needed. I didn't even know that they were connected. I mean, and it sounds weird to say, but it's very true. So weight loss surgery helped me make that connection between my brain and my body. But above and beyond that, how has weight loss surgery helped you create this healthier relationship with food?
Well, now it's more of an eat to live, not live to eat situation, and
Mhm.
I can go, serious amounts of time now without. I basically intermittent fast without trying to,
Mhm.
just because of the amount of time I can go without worrying about it. I can, half of one of my bottle, 12 ounces of the 24-ounce bottle of water that I drink a day will keep me going for hours, and I
Wow.
won't even think about it. So like the past couple of, like yesterday and today, I've been off of work. And when I'm off of work, I do the best. It's when I'm sitting at work and I'm, sitting in the chair all day and I'm stuck in doing one thing, that the other
Yeah.
stuff starts to kind of creep in.
Yeah.
But when I'm off, I can blow and go and maybe grab a protein bar at some point throughout the day and eat
Yeah.
that and keep, kind of keep going that way. So before, I would never do that. I woke
Yeah.
up starving, thinking about food, and I would hit it from there. And as much as I could grab throughout the day, I was doing it. So
Yeah. And I always just, because people always ask me like, well, what's changed? Well, obviously I'm missing, 70% or 80% of my stomach. That's a change. But it was so interesting because I felt like right after surgery, I mean, right after surgery was really, really hard for me. That was not but the physical recovery was fine. It was, I think, what everybody else experiences. There's a lot of pain, but the emotional connection that I had to recognize between my well-being and food was brutal. But I think the magic of weight loss surgery for me was that the procedure put a physical barrier between my food addiction, between that voice in my head and my body. And it was so painful that it forced the two of them to finally connect and start talking. And even though they connected, there was this wedge that was driven between my addiction and what my body needed. And it gave my brain a hot minute to rationally think about what I was experiencing emotionally, right? It was like, okay, things are not good. You are really stressed out, man. You really want to eat Cheetos or breakfast sandwich or pizza or whatever, right? It was just like that addiction was like, oh man, you really want this. But then the rational side of my brain, all of a sudden I could hear and I could listen to it. And that rational side of my brain was saying, you are not hungry. You maybe you're thirsty, but you are not hungry. I am not asking you for anything. It was literally like my stomach was talking to my brain saying, I'm not asking you for anything. In fact, I just want you to chill out. I want you to just think about why you are freaking out over food. I want you to acknowledge the fact that you are sad or angry or disappointed or hurt or you are unfulfilled, right? Like all of these big, huge, scary words and feelings were right there at the forefront. And addiction for all those years prevented me from acknowledging those feelings and from asking very simple questions like, well, why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling unfulfilled? What am I hoping or what is missing? I couldn't ask those questions before because addiction absolutely clouded it. And I just continue to tell people that is the power of weight loss surgery. And that is where the work is, right? Because sure, I could eat less and I can listen to my body and I can stop eating when I'm full. But eventually I'm going to heal and I'm going to be able to eat more and I'm going to be able to eat more frequently. And that's where you regain the weight. If you don't listen to the why, to the reason that you're doing things, or the reason that you want something, or the reason that you're craving something, then your weight is your weight's gonna come back. I mean, you and I have talked about this. We've both noticed that we're kind of slipping at times back into our old habits, right? We're feeling kind of normal. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, if I'm feeling normal, then I can do what I did after surgery now. And that is the straight danger zone. That is like Top Gun danger zone, because you are on the path to living your life as you did before after surgery. And we all know what's going to happen then. If you live the way that you lived before surgery, after surgery, you're going to weigh what you weighed before surgery, after surgery. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants
Right.
that.
Well, and you get to a point in that normalcy where not only do you have to fight your brain telling you those types of things and you trying to, fight through the reasons why, you'll also have to, your brain will try to tell you that it's time to eat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, it's lunchtime. Well, if you're not hungry, your brain will still be like, yeah, but it's lunchtime. Like the clock
Correct.
says it's lunchtime, so you should probably eat something. But
Yes.
in your head, you're like, nah, I'm still full from breakfast, but
Yes.
it's lunchtime. Like, so
Yes.
there's like just nudging you like, hey, but yeah, it doesn't matter that you ate and you're still full, like, but it's lunchtime. Like if you miss it now, who
Yeah.
knows when it's going to come around again? Well,
Yes.
it's going
Right.
to come around in a little while when I'm hungry again, like when I'm actually hungry. Like I don't have to eat right now just because it's noon. I can eat later when I'm actually hungry.
Correct. Those two things on your shoulder, right? The angel and the devil, or whatever you want to call it. You have two competing voices, and those voices don't go away. And the work after weight loss surgery is that you have to acknowledge both voices, and you have to listen to them, which is really scary because I don't want to listen to my old self. I don't want to listen to this addiction, but it is still there. And the only way that I can combat it is I can say, okay, I hear you and I see you, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not actually hungry, right? Or maybe I'm thirsty, or I'm just emotional. I'm just sad. I'm just upset. It's having those conversations, and it sounds crazy. It sounds like, that's just too easy. But that is the simple answer. But the simple answer is not the easy answer. And having those conversations it's difficult, and it can be gut wrenching, and it can be really hard for us. But I think it's important to know, and for everybody to know, that you and I are having these conversations with ourselves, and it's not killing us, right? It's having these difficult conversations with ourselves are actually making us a better human. We are becoming the best version of ourselves because we are having these difficult conversations. And we're telling you, you can have these conversations with yourself, and it's not going to kill you. It's not going to harm you, even though it feels like it. It's not going to harm you. It's actually going to heal you. It's how we get beyond food controlling us. And it's how we learn to regain control over that. And it's how we get to a place where we can enjoy food and not be panicked and not worry about our future. Yeah, I mean,
And you can also, if you're having a hard time having the conversations with yourself at the beginning, reach out to somebody who's in your support group, or reach out to April or myself, or either one. We'll be more than happy to listen to you have the conversations with us until you can have the conversations with yourself, because we know as well as anybody else, you're not always just going to start out becoming one and comfortable talking to yourself, because let's be honest, we didn't really do that before surgery.
No.
So navigating these pathways isn't always the easiest to do without a little assistance. Mm-hmm. So be more than happy to help you do that. And if it comes out to something that April or I don't know the answer to, we're going to find you somebody that knows the answer, so you can get in touch with them and start forging a better pathway to, connecting those dots for yourself, so you can have those important conversations moving forward.
Yeah, which is why, I mean, Jason, I always say this. We are amazed at the power of social media when it comes to facilitating these types of conversations. You might not be comfortable reaching out to somebody that hasn't lived through what you're living through, but there are pockets on the internet, right? Like our Instagram page. That's why we have this podcast, to let you know that you are not alone, and that by having these simple conversations, you are starting the process. You are creating a healthier relationship with yourself and with food. I mean, with everything. I mean, that Jason and I always leave these conversations going, oh my God, I made so many connections, right? Or it's just like, oh my gosh, I never really thought about that. But really, through talking about it, we are on the right path to creating healthier relationships with food.
Definitely.
So Jason and I want to leave you guys with some tips and tricks for how we can build a new relationship with food that's healthy, right? That still allows us to incorporate food into our lives as a form of celebration and as a joy, you know, something that gives us joy and happiness, but in a way that's healthy. So if you are seeking some emotional support, if you know that you need to start with your emotions, you really just have to stop and ask yourself, why? Why am I feeling so emotional over, you fill in the blank, right? Pizza or whatever food item is triggering you. You have to just stop and say, why am I feeling this way? And ask yourself, am I missing someone? Is there a social or emotional need that's not being met? Am I feeling sad, anxious, mad, depressed? Right? Really try to put an identifier on what you're feeling, right? Because if we can say it out loud, then we can ask ourselves the really important question, which is, well, is food going to really give me that? And the answer is no. Food is not going to give you comfort. Food is not going to make you feel better. Food is not going to fill the void, or, you know, it's not going to do any of those things. It's just not. And if you can get to the place and say, okay, wait, why am I feeling this way? Why am I freaking out over this? And really work, you know, get the answer. And then tell yourself out loud, oh, food is not going to make me feel whole. Food is not going to make me feel better, right? Because then you can get to that place where you can go, oh, what is going to make me feel better? And usually it's, well, I need to talk to this person, or I need to reach out to a friend, or I need to find some peace and quiet, or I need to find some calm, or I need to make a to-do list. I need to really address this thing that is driving this emotion, because food is not the answer. Food is not going to fix it. And even if you do turn to food in your moment of panic, you're going to realize, oh wait, that didn't help. That feeling, that emotion, that sense is still there, and you're going to keep repeating that cycle until you get to the bottom of it. And I always recommend, I have a couple magic sentences, thanks to my work with Wendy, with my therapist. But my magic craving sentence is, this is what I literally do, right? So when a craving hits, and this just happened the other day, I was like, oh my God, I just want some Cheetos. I love Cheetos. I absolutely love Cheetos. And I was like, oh my God, I just want some Cheetos. And I said it out loud, and I was like, okay, why do I need Cheetos? And it's so stupid, right? Because instantly I was like, because I'm stressed. And it's like, oh, so Cheetos is not going to fix my stress, right? So I literally said out loud to myself, okay, well then what the fuck do I need to do to not be so stressed? And then all of a sudden my rational brain was like, oh, well, you should probably get your ass out of your chair, go take Stella for a walk. When you're on your walk, you need to think about all of these things you've got floating out, you know, around your brain. And when you get home, you need to make a list. What do I need to do in my work life? What do I need to do in my personal life that absolutely has to get done? And then what are some things that I can let go of? What are some things that I can hand off to other people? What are some things that I can give away because they are adding to my stress level? And as soon as I had that conversation with myself, I was like, oh, okay, I don't need Cheetos. I need some space. I need some grace. I need to make a to-do list. I need to move my body. And as soon as I did all of those things, as soon as I even just started thinking about the rational things that I needed to do, my craving dissipated. It went away. I did not drive my ass to the store to buy Cheetos. It was in and out of my brain in less than a minute, because I used that magic sentence, right? I'm craving this. This is what I need. Is fill in the blank really going to make me feel better? No, it's not, right? It moved me from panic to problem solving very, very quickly.
Well, and that's one thing that people tend to let get to them is just the overwhelming sense of having too much on their plate.
Yeah.
And something that I've been thinking of lately in that same situation, which works for you and I, and what we're creating in East to West, as well as outside personal life too. Sometimes you got to delegate if you want to dominate.
Yeah. Oh, oh, we got to turn that into a graphic. Ain't that the truth? Yes. And we can delegate to other people, and we can delegate within ourselves. We can triage ourselves. We can say, you know what, that's not, that is not the most critically important thing here. I'm gonna push that to later. I'm just gonna get rid of it altogether. Wow. Ooh, that's why you're called the Smithsonian.
They're just in there floating around. I tell you, sometimes they just pop out.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, one of my favorite books of all time is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I reference it, I think, every day at this point. And he, to paraphrase, what he really says is that every action we take, everything we do, is a vote for the person that we want to become. So if I am doing something, if I'm making a decision, or if I'm doing an action, and it doesn't align to the person that I want to be, I'm voting for my old self. And if I can get a moment of pause when I'm in these moments of panic, and I can say, okay, is eating that going to cast a vote for the person I want to become, or is it casting a vote for the person I was? And if I can get there, it's easier for me to go, that is a decision for my old self. I'm only making decisions today for my new self. So I'm going to say no to that. It's such a powerful visual that I can use, because it pops into my brain. And if I can physically cast a vote for the person that I want to become, I'm feeling better about myself and my decisions every moment of the day, every time I get to that hurdle. And it seems to be getting easier, right? Because the more that I say yes to this new person, the happier I become, the more fulfilled I am, the more content I am. And then those non-scale victories are even more glorious, or the couple pounds that come off are even more motivating. But if I'm making decisions, if I'm casting a vote for my old life, then I'm going to be living my old life sooner rather than later. And I absolutely do not want, I don't want to go there. I absolutely don't want to go there.
Yeah, you've come too far.
You've come too far. Yep. So if you're struggling with your relationship with food, if you're really going down, right, your old pathways, and you need some physical support, we recommend a couple things. So if you've got some events coming up, right, like we know that it's the holidays right around the corner. If you are coordinating those events, focus on why you are having that event, right? Focus on things that are not food related. So for me, like you guys know I talk about this all the time. I love to entertain. I love to create a beautiful tablescape. Focus on the atmosphere that you're creating for your friends and family. Focus on the conversations that you're going to have or foster. Really think about the questions that you want to ask, and think about really how you want to connect with them, and make food not the primary place, right? Focus on the place settings, focus on the decorations, on the conversations, the questions, the gossip, right? Focus on the joy that comes with the connections from those people. Do not focus on the food that you're serving. And I mean, I know that I know it's COVID, but potlucks are becoming all of a sudden, popular again. So, ask people to bring food. If you're really worried about like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cook food and I'm worried I'm going to overeat it, don't cook it. Just tell people, hey, I'm opening this space, or I'm opening my backyard to you. Everybody bring something. That removes your connection to the food. It can be a really powerful tool.
Delegation.
The other thing that I have been doing, and it's been a huge help, is meal planning. And I know that sounds crazy, but Grady and I sit down one day a week. We plan out all of our meals. We make one giant shopping list. And instead of going into the grocery stores, I'm ordering all of my groceries online, and then I just pick them up. They bring them to my car. But what makes that so amazing is that I'm not walking through the grocery store. I'm not seeing or hearing or smelling food. I'm not seeing the end caps. I'm not, all of these options are not loading my senses. I'm simply going to, Safeway.com or Albertsons.com, typing in exactly what's on my list. And then I'm not being distracted. I'm not being pulled in a direction that is not healthy for me. So I'm not bringing in triggering foods into my home. I'm just buying what's on the menu. And when I meal plan, I can already think ahead, like, ooh, that sounds really enjoyable. Or I'm very excited to try this new recipe. Or I found this great suggestion on this bariatric forum, and I'm excited to cook that. I can be excited for meals that I choose for myself that are healthy and nutritious. And I'm not pulled down this triggering avenue of the grocery store. Such a powerful tool that we can use now. And, again, silver lining of COVID, all this technology now makes, this type of grocery shopping available for a lot of us.
Well, it cuts out all the impulse buys, which is, let's be honest, that's what we do. That's why we're in this situation. That's why we,
right.
So yeah, you don't have the impulse buys. It's a lot easier to make it through.
Yep. Right. And another strategy is, it kind of aligns to this, right? Just don't bring those foods into your home. And when I really got serious about this journey, I had an honest conversation with my husband, and I was like, look, if I have these things here at home, I'm going to eat them. So I need you to be okay with you not eating them either. Or if you want to eat those foods, fine, but do it outside of this home, do it at work, do it in your car. I mean, whatever, that's not healthy either, but I can't worry about you because I have to focus on me. So sometimes having these difficult conversations with members of our family are not easy, but they're necessary, right? And we have to ask for their support. If they're not on board with that, if they're not willing to give up the foods that are triggering for you, then our recommendation is you need to get as much friction between you and that item as possible. Put it in the back corner of your pantry, put it on the highest shelf, put it in a drawer, put it someplace that you're not going to see it or interact with it, because that is going to help you muster up that willpower to say no when these moments strike, right? Getting friction between you and that item is key to success. The other thing that we would recommend is, a lot of us use food as something that brings us joy or happiness, but that could also mean that we're missing something in our lives to replace it, right? So what we need to do is we need to find something new in our lives that bring us joy. We need to replace food with something else. So think about something that you have been really excited to learn or try or do. Now is the time to do that. Now is the time to really branch out and to find something that brings you joy that is not food centered. So, if you really want to learn to sew or paint or knit or edit photos or start a podcast or start a blog, now is the time to do that, because all of that joy that you're seeking is out there. You just have to drop food and pick up something else, right? Or maybe there's something that you already enjoy doing and you have just let it slide. Now is the time to revisit that passion, that hobby, that thing that really sparks some joy in you, and dive back into it, learn it, return to it, make it a part of your daily practice. Because as soon as you do that, food is going to take less and less importance, because you're getting your joy from the things that are actually helping you live your healthiest life. And all of a sudden food becomes, like what you said, Jason, it's nutrition. Food is secondary. It's not primary. And when we can find our joy in things outside of food, it's a really awesome place to live. It's a really awesome place to be.
Yeah, food should be fuel for your body, not for your happiness.
Yes. Yep. Right. Our mantra lately is food will not make you feel better. It just won't. Food is not going to make you feel better. Confronting your emotions, finding things in your life that provide extra joy, focusing on the celebration, on the people, on the connections, and not the food are keys to success and long-term success. And it's not like, you're going to do it one time and now you're going to do it all the time. No, this has to be something that you keep on at the front of your brain and you practice every single day, and you're checking in with yourself. And it too is exhausting. But as Jason and I have found, this work is not as exhausting as the work that we were doing when we were relying on food. that was more exhausting. That was detrimental. That led us to an early grave. But spending our energy and focusing on creating these new relationships with food and finding joy in other ways, it's still exhausting, but it's nothing compared to how we were living our lives before.
It's not as exhausting as trying to climb steps at 468 pounds.
Amen, brother.
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Woo. That was a lot. That was good. That was good. So I have to ask, so I asked you the questions at the beginning of the podcast, and now I'm going to ask you, ask again. So when you think about food now, after weight loss surgery, how do you feel?
Now it's very simple. It's very quick. It's I need to grab something here in a little bit because I don't want to get too hungry, but I'll grab something and move on. Because at that point, it's either a protein bar or some eggs or something that's really quick, and that's it.
Yeah. When I ask myself that question, when I think about food now, I feel very empty in the best possible way, right? It's almost like there's no more emotional connection to food. And that absence of emotion is glorious, right?
Yeah,
because when I think about,
for the first time being asked the other day, where do you want to go eat? And I said, I don't care because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That, to me, because I used to have an opinion every single time. Because I wanted to go here because it had the best whatever, or here because it had the biggest whatever. Yeah. And they asked me the other night, like we had a group of friends, was like, hey, where you guys want to go eat at? And I was like, I don't care. No matter to me. And I literally didn't care. Like they could have picked anything and I would have found something small that I would have ate half of and been good. Like, I just didn't care.
I noticed that the other day. Grady got home very late. I had a very busy day, and he was like, what do you want to do for dinner? And I was like, oh, I don't care. And he's like, well, why don't we go out to dinner, or let's do takeout? We're trying to support local businesses. And I was like, I don't care. And it dawned on me. I was like, oh my God.
I really don't care.
I really don't care. There's no anxiety. There's no stress. It was like, I could feel my body. From habit, I was tensing up because I was thinking about this anxiety that was coming over food, and it didn't arrive. The anxiety wasn't there. And I just thought, oh my God, I've made it. You know what I mean? It's such a cause for celebration. And I just never believed that I could get here. And yet here I am. It's the power of bariatric surgery. And it's so hard to put into words. But man, that feeling is priceless. Absolutely.
It's almost as much weight lifted off of you as we've lost since we've had the surgery. Honestly, it felt the same.
Yes. Oh, I've never even thought about it that way. My grandma always asked me, like, oh, you must feel so different. And she's always referring to the physical weight being gone. But I don't feel the physical weight at all. I feel all this emotional weight. I mean, I feel light as a feather. And it's just the most bizarre feeling. But you are, Jesus, that is, man, I don't know how you do it, but you bring out shit that I'm like, damn it, that's it. That's man, good Lord.
That's why I am the Smithsonian.
It is. It's why we love these conversations, man. All right, friend. I think we did it.
Yes, ma'am. I believe so.
Well, Jason, I cannot thank all of you enough for being a part of East to West WLS, of just being a part of this bariatric community. We feel so great knowing that we're not alone, and we feel even better knowing that we can help you know that you are not alone. We know this is not easy. We know that weight loss surgery is not the easy way out. We know that by choosing bariatric surgery, we're committing to taking really the most difficult path to living our healthiest lives. But we are so thankful that you are on this journey with us. There are lots of ways to support us and to continue to support the East to West WLS Nation so that we can grow and offer, just continue to offer more supports. So you can subscribe to this podcast. You can leave us a rating and a written review in your podcast app. That would
we would be so thankful if you were so moved to do that. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can like our videos. You can share the videos. You can share the podcast, right? If you love what you are listening or what you are hearing, share it with other people in your own world. Right, what we talk about is specific to bariatric people, but it's just specific to anybody that's looking to make changes in life. So we appreciate you sharing our message. We are super proud of our website. We absolutely love it. You can subscribe there. You can visit us there. We're collaborating with people in this community, and we're just going to be pumping out all kinds of useful, meaningful, valuable information there on our website. So just go to www.east2west.WLS.com. Super easy, and all kinds of information there. You can follow us on Instagram. We are at East2West_WLS. You can follow Jason and I. We each have our own personal page. You can find me at actively_April. Where can they follow you, Jason?
I am THA, so _Smithsonian.
And let me tell you, I asked Jason the other day, I was like, why are you called the Smithsonian? And clearly, and he's like, well, I tend to come up with some like great, bits of information. Yeah. Like knowledgeable beyond compare. So it makes a lot of sense. So give us a follow, give us a like. We love to interact with people from this community. If you have questions, please reach out to us directly. If you have ideas or topics that you want to see explored on the podcast or on the videos, let us know. We are here to support the bariatric community, and we want to make sure that we are offering content that is meaningful and valuable to you. So know that we are excited to get your feedback.
Yes, definitely.
All right. As always, Jason, it was a pleasure talking with you. I think we did it. I'm excited to share this information out to the world.
I believe so too. I think we did. There was a lot of good information in this particular podcast. So I'm hoping everybody gets a little something from it. And most importantly, as we always like to say, don't forget, you've got this and we've got you. And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.